morning, Unleashed, and welcome to the 24th Advent window of 2022. It's Christmas Eve. A lot to celebrate tomorrow, isn't there? What I wanted to speak about this morning was the huge change that came into the world with Jesus, and how, as we go through changes, as we're part of them, some of the ways in which he came will make sense to us in what we do, will help us navigate the times and the places that we're in. The world did change, didn't it? Light came into the darkness. God became man. God is with us and will always now be with us. The world has changed. Our understanding of God and of humanity, of all that has been created, has changed because of the light that Jesus brought, our understanding of his Father in heaven. And I'm really aware as I speak this morning of us and our changes, the things that many of us have been through over the recent seasons or years or just weeks, where God has asked us to step out in faith into something new, where there's been a new beginning. We may have left behind familiar territory of where we live, of what of our employment, of even our fellowships, our churches, in order to become part of new Christian communities or begin them, which is wonderful, but it's a scary place to be. And the three things I want to mention this morning to help us navigate these new beginnings are, firstly, how over the centuries, Jesus the Messiah was long expected, and yet when he came, it was completely unexpected. Many didn't recognize his coming because he wasn't in the shape that they believed the Messiah would come. He was not what they were looking for. And we're not to make the same mistake. We must allow God to shape the things that he births in and through us, not have too much of a preconceived idea of what those new things will look like. They've got to be shaped by the Holy Spirit, the context he's put us in and what he leads us into. Secondly, Jesus came in a really vulnerable place, nothing quite so helpless and dependent as a newborn baby, is there? So he was small, he needed all the help that he could have in terms of just eating and feeding and being safe from things outside of the family, being resourced through the years that lay ahead. He was completely dependent on the parents that God had given him and on God himself to protect him. And that's a safe place to be, is to be a place of vulnerability and dependence on God. But it doesn't feel comfortable, does it? We too are to acknowledge that only in God are we secure, that our humanity, our past vulnerabilities, the things that have hurt us, the mental health things that each of us may well have experienced in some way, the relationship breakdowns, the bruising we've had from church or from the world, all those vulnerabilities we bring to where we are now. But he knows, and he's Lord of all of that. And in his lordship and in his power and his sovereignty and his strength lies our strength to do what he's asked us to do. It's okay to be vulnerable, small, wobbly. Jesus was. And thirdly, it's okay to be hidden for a time. Jesus came in relative obscurity. He came at night to a fairly remote place, not in the center of the Roman Empire, but at a distance. And he came, as it were, hidden, other than to those to whom God pointed the way. So his mum knew who he was, his dad knew who he was, the shepherds knew who he was, and the Magi knew who he was, all through dreams or visions or angels or a star. But no one else really did until they started talking. And for those first 30 years, he was hidden, really, from the eyes of the world, just growing quietly in his relationship with God and being part of normal humanity. And sometimes when we're part of something that's just beginning, God needs to hide us. And he does, under his wings, in the palm of his hand, as he allows us to grow the way he wants us to be. It's okay to be hidden for a season and to trust him to bring those he wants to know us, to bring those who he has appointed to be part of what we're doing in the years that lie ahead. So I'm hoping that as we go into the year that lies ahead, as we celebrate tomorrow, the light coming in the darkness, we'll remember to be shaped by God, even if it's unexpected, to be vulnerable in him because it brings his strength, and to be in a place that's relatively hidden because in that place he forms us into what he wants us to be. And I hope you have a wonderful season tomorrow. I hope all your hopes and dreams are wrapped up in him and know that they can be real, and they will be real in his decision-making, in his power, in the future he has dreamed for you, the vision he has seen and has shared with each of us. So have a wonderful season. God bless.